Hey, what's up? This is Mitch, and you're listening to episode 1 of DuckTalks. It's the week of Saturday, October 7th, and you're listening to DuckTalks. And with me is Pirate Steven. Pirate, how are you today?
Ahoy there, and thanks for putting us together. This is our first episode of Duck Talks. It's hard to say. We're going to be saying Ducktales, but Duck Talks is the name of this show, and I'm excited that this thing is coming to be because me and Mitch are a bunch of 30-year-olds. Wish we were 30. We're a little bit older than 30, but uh, we have a love of DuckTales and this DuckTales universe, and we kind of talk about it obsessively, kind of like sports fans talk about their favorite teams, and we'll go on and on all day about it. So we're like, we should do a show, and that's what this show is all about.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We've talked about it, as we're getting ready, that I really enjoy podcasts, and doing a podcast is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. But I feel like if I do a podcast, it's got to be about something that I'm passionate about. And like you said, this show has been something that I've been very passionate about. Do you remember when I first brought this up to you?
I don't, but you're gonna tell me the story right now, I'm sure.
I'm going to tell you about it. We were just kind of talking back and forth on Twitter about the show and stuff that was going on, and it wasn't out yet. I think it was probably about the panel that they did at San Diego, and I sent you a message, and I was like, man, if I didn't have so much going on right now, I'd be trying to convince you to do a podcast with me about this show, and you said anytime.
Absolutely, yeah. I could talk Ducktales forever, and I feel we're going to do that tonight, and for many podcast episodes to go with this. So I'm definitely excited about this. I did a podcast about Disney Infinity for a couple of years, and it was a blast. So I know this is going to be fun as well.
Yeah, actually, I listened to that podcast for about a year until the end, and was there for the end episode. So, like I said, I've been listening for a while, and but yeah, very excited for this show. Was very excited. When was it announced? Was it like 2015 or 14?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm going to show some of my Disney nerdiness. I actually found out about the show because I had heard that there was going to be a Rescue Rangers live action movie, and I was looking for that and just happened to get in the right places where when this got announced, I found out about it.
And then we've been geeking out ever since.
Yeah, I'm still looking forward to some more news on that Rescue Rangers movie.
Oh, absolutely, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
We, me and my family have been to every Alvin and the Chipmunk movie in the theaters. Sometimes we're the only people in the theaters during them, but I'm sure Rescue Rangers would be just as great as those.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it's been great, and the show at this point we're a little late to the game, right? We've been trying to get ready to do this, but we are on. Was this episode 5 or 6? I know the numbers are off.
Oh yeah, it depends on if they count the re-edit of the Atlantis episode, but it's 5 or 6 for sure.
Yes. So, and we'll talk a little bit in the next episode about the current episode. Tonight, we're going to kind of talk about our love for the show and the production, just the beginnings of the show, what's going on with the show, the things that interest us and excite us about the show. Hopefully, they interest and excite the audience, and they come back, right?
Absolutely. So just give you a background of my love and fandom for the Disney afternoon and DuckTales in general. I was born in 1981. Yes, I'm dating myself on the first episode of this podcast. But DuckTales came out in 1987, so I was 6 years old when it came out. And it's seriously everything that the Disney television did back then was gold. And
Yes.
to have a 2 hour block of great cartoons, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, Rescue Rangers, Goof Troop, all those classics. uh, I'd get off the bus and just come home and watch those for a 2 hour block. And it was just great television that you can't really find nowadays. And that's kind of when I think about my Disney childhood. I don't think of, of course, I went and saw all the movies in the theater, but those afternoons of Disney afternoon, the theme songs, everything, and watching that and then doing my homework right after was my 80s and 90s growing up experience with Disney. So I'm looking forward to the nostalgic feature of that.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I'm quite a bit younger than you, apparently, though. I did not realize this. I was born in '82. So I was
Oof.
5 years old. Yeah, I was a young one. It almost went over my head. But yeah, so I was 5 when it came out. Both of my parents worked pretty late most of the time. So I went to daycare after school. But our daycare was nice enough to play the Disney afternoon when we got there. So I watched, I was thinking about it the other day. When I watched these shows, it was in community. I was sitting there with a bunch of other kids experiencing the shows for the first time. And and I guess with me and my family, we all get together and sit on the couch and watch it together. There's that nostalgia, and it's been great to have that. But the new parts of the show have been just as exciting because it's been something to experience new with the family, but still get to go, oh yeah, I remember that. You know, like when a certain hint of a character comes up.
Yeah, and and I know you own the DVDs as well, but
Mhm.
I've been like kind of educating my kids on this great Disney fandom and all these episodes that they missed because they weren't around when they originally aired, and they were super hyped for the new series to premiere, to the point where after the 1 hour finale, it's like, when's the next come like to sleep late. They wake me up at 7 in the morning to watch DuckTales like it's Christmas morning every weekend. And like this morning when the new one premiered, I got up at like 7:08. So they started without me, and they were very apologetic about it. But um, they love it just as much as me, and I'm glad that I get to share this experience with them all over again.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been the same for us. With this show, in the internet, we've had all these little promos, and as we've led up to the show, including when the theme song came out. Before that, what was the first one? I believe it was the cast doing the theme song, right? Like we had an image first, but then the first video was the cast, in the recording session doing it and or singing the song. And my girls got excited because they knew the song. We'd been watching those DVDs for a long time. Like you said, they've grown up with the Disney afternoon in the house as well. Um, but you had that video, and then we had all these little promos. And every time I've seen them online, I've watched them, of course, on my own. But then when I get home in the evenings, usually right before we get ready for bed, we sit down and watch these little videos of whatever it was, whether it was just the promo or they've had a number of things.
Yeah, the cast is great, and as Disney's doing a really good job of marketing the show. And there's all these other things around it. Like they have this new comic book series, and at D23 they had and I regrettably did not get to do it, but the jump into Scrooge McDuck's money bin, and things like that. And even this month they had that Haunted Mansion claymation promo with the nephews and the Haunted Mansion and the Hatbox Ghost, which was just fantastic. So they're really doing great things at Disney TV animation. Like the Big Hero 6 is coming up as well, and I know everybody's gonna be excited to see that to the lineup. They can make their own like the Disney afternoon with Big Hero 6 and just new Ducktales and whatever else they want to
Darkwing
reboot. I'm
Duck.
fine with the dark. Oh yeah, that one's good too. Darkwing Duck, absolutely. And I'd watch every episode.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
it's funny. The when the 1 hour show premiered, it was on 24 hours straight. and I know me and you watched like 4 or 5 hours of that day.
Right.
It was just so good. It was so good. I watched it several times since then.
Yeah, we especially leading up to the first episode that actually aired after the premiere. I have no idea how many times we watched that movie.
Absolutely. Who's your so who is your favorite character from this new one?
From the new series, definitely Dewey. Dewey Duck is my
Dewey?
favorite. Yeah. As a kid, my favorite was Louie, and it was completely because I liked the green color, because there was no other reason. But with Dewey, that premiere episode or movie, whatever we want to call it, was focused on him. But it was all about how he's the up and coming adventurer. He was the one that was, ready to run run in to whatever was going on, because he just wanted to be part of the adventure. And I just thought that was a fun character to have.
Yeah, I feel like I liked Dewey in the original series because the same reason I like Blue, and he was probably my favorite. In this new series, I definitely love Louis because of Bobby Moynihan doing the voice of him, and I'm such a laid back person, and I love that the all the ducks in this version, like the nephews in the original, you really couldn't tell the nephews apart. If they all switched shirts, you wouldn't even know who the nephew was. But now they all have their individual personalities, and it's funny how they're all older than the other.
Right.
Huey's the oldest, and yeah, I'm like the laid back Louis, but I also love Launchpad. I think he's
Yes.
hilarious, and it's kind of like when I watched The Simpsons. Bart Simpson was my favorite, and then when I got older,
Right.
Homer is my favorite. So I feel like looking forward to seeing more Launchpad and Scrooge McDuck and some of the other characters. And it was good. It was refreshing to see Launchpad back after missing the first few episodes after the pilot episode premiered.
Oh, definitely. And he brought the funny. It was hilarious all the way through the episode, or all of his scenes. Um, yeah, let me ask you this: before the new series, did you know their names? Who was who?
Yeah, being a Disney aficionado, I would always know that Huey was red and Dewey was blue and green was Louie. If you made them in different orders, it might get a little confusing,
Right.
but uh, yeah,
And then
I think I could handle.
you've got the older stuff that had an orange sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the comics and
Yeah, the
stuff that
comics.
that makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah. So I tried to teach my daughters. That was one of the first things they wanted to know, was they kept getting them confused. And I had remembered, and I don't remember where I read this, but it was Huey, Dewey, and Louie as the order we all know, and based on how the show has done it, that's their birth order. But Huey is a hue. You think of hue and red being a hue, and then dew being water, and water is blue, and then that leaves Louis. So that was how my girls learned how to tell them apart before the show. Of course, now they're, like you said, they're very distinct and very different, and so they already knew the names, but I think they would have picked up pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess we said they have different personalities, and now their voices sound a lot
Yeah.
older. I know that when the series first premiered, that was the one thing that people said, like, I don't know, I have to get used to their voices because they
Right.
sound so different. But I think the voice cast is really knocking it out of the park with the characters, and you can tell from just looking at interviews and panels and things like that that they really enjoy doing what they're doing, and being part of this legacy. Um, so it's good to see. That's pretty refreshing, and we haven't seen much of Scrooge McDuck since the first episode, so I can't wait to see more of him get into his character.
Right. Yeah. I actually was talking about this with a friend uh, earlier this week. In that, we have not seen Scrooge hardly at all since the premiere. But it's kind of like they've made him out to be this great adventurer that you can't bring him into every situation because he would just, do a flip and throw his cane around and it would in his hat and it'd be over, right? So I really like that they've allowed the kids to have these adventures without him, yet I'm missing him.
Right, and he'll be back, I'm sure. I mean, they got to get all the, as the producer said, they need to get each of their individual featured episode with each of the kids and Webby, and you can even look at each episode that's premiered so far and pick which character they were going to feature for each one. And I really like how they've done Webby.
Mm-hmm.
She's become a pretty big character, and I think that's great for young girls out there to have another character to look up to or think is funny. And I mean, they haven't, Disney Store really hasn't done anything with their merchandise, but I can totally see Webby on everything once they hit that merchandise explosion.
Yeah, I've been in the Disney Store a few times since the premiere and keep looking. The only thing I've found so far is a new ornament for Christmas this year. But it's the classic. It's the comic nephews.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait. I think that hopefully there'll be some DuckTales stuff under my tree for Christmas and stockings and everything. So that's something they can definitely push before Christmas, I hope.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked
And that's
about.
the other cool thing about this is that we're hoping more merchandise and things come out. I know we've gone in in-depth conversation about because me and you are both collectors, and all the Funkos getting on board, and they're putting all these new Funko Pops, which are really popular, and then there's a mystery mini set with Disney Afternoon that we'll get into in future episodes. But it's really cool to see stuff from our past being reborn, and being sought after because people are going crazy about this stuff.
Yeah, we were talking earlier today about this Scrooge, the New York City Comic Con exclusive pop, and you asked if I got a hold of one, and I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to get it, and decided that I might get it. So I went to the store and they were out, and then I got online and they were out. So I missed my chance, but that's okay. I did buy a Scrooge pop though.
Who knows? Maybe one of our listeners will be like, "Hey, there's some at my Hot Topic," and they can send you one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, so if y'all find one at Hot Topic, let Mitch know. Because yeah, I stayed up all night for that one, and the Hot Topic it took like at 10 or 11 a.m. they end up releasing it. But yeah, I'm obsessed with Funko Pops, and I think this DuckTales series is going really good,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of potential for new characters because right now they're doing all the classic ones, and they can make them in the 2017 format as well.
Yeah, I was thinking of that as I was looking at the nephews at the store that I was at, and I was thinking, buy these three, and then in a few months they should be re-released a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be variants like crazy. But getting back to the show,
Yes.
I think it's really cool that Glomgold. I think Glomgold is my favorite character, even over Louie and Launchpad. He was just hilarious. That Glomgold Industries commercial. You're the best of the cheapest. I think it's hilarious. I tell people that at work, and they just crack up.
Yeah, and then when he says that they can trade in their badge for 40% off, what was it? A life preserver?
Life vest or something.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He was great. Looking forward to seeing more of him. If he gets away from that sea creature.
I like his henchman at the end. That's like, I thought you said the employees were the greatest treasure of all. No, treasure's the greatest treasure of all.
That's why we call it treasure. Yeah.
So I think I like his new character design, and I think he's going to be really fun. And then Magica, I was expecting Magica to come later down the line, and
I did too.
And they got Beagle Boys, and every episode it's just fun to find the little hidden things that they put in there from the past.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the Beagle Boys. I think they might have been some of my favorite villains of the old show, just because you had there weren't just the three. There were others, and they would come in and out every now and then, especially based on what the plot needed. You'd have a Beagle Boy who was better at something. But seeing the classic Beagle Boys in this show and how they've kind of tweaked them a little bit and made them a little bit different. And I was listening to their voices and thinking about how different it is from the original design, but in a way that's more fun, especially with Ma Beagle.
Yeah, we'll have to look up the Beagle Boys cast because I feel like besides Ma Beagle, I think that one person
It's
does
one
the
guy.
rest of them.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
so it's pretty cool.
And there was like 26 distinct voices that he did in the Beagle Boy or in the Beagle Birthday Massacre.
Yeah, great episode with a great variety of characters, and plus at the end the surprise reveal of Magica's back. Spoiler alert, sorry, but
I was not expecting that to happen in that episode. As a matter
no,
of
but
fact,
you called it. You
well,
called it immediately.
yeah,
You saw her eyes, and
yeah. As soon as I was watching it, I was like, this character looks a lot like Magica when you look at the eyes and the amulet. When the amulet showed up, I was like, yeah, no, I'm calling it. This is Magica. And so I actually tweeted that I was calling it that it was her. And within like 10 minutes, well, I guess it was a little bit later. You had the end of the show, and they actually showed her. Her when they showed the shadow. I was like, oh no, I got to delete that tweet. I don't want to ruin it for people. So I got rid of it.
yeah, that Shadow episode was one of the greatest ones from the original
Yes.
series. So it's
Well,
cool that they have that little nod back to that. I think one of my favorite episodes so far has been the Great Dime Chase, I think is the name of it.
mine as well.
Um, yeah, that was it's really fun. Of course, that's the Louis featured episode,
Right.
and it had Gyro in it, and a lot of different like the little bulb
Little
guy
bulb.
was in the original, and you could see he started a plan for the Gizmo Duck episode, and I like how the end how it was just a fake dime that Louis was hunted down, and at the end he gives it to him, and Louis like, "I'm gonna save this," and then no, I'm gonna put it in a drink machine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then he realizes what he had done.
yeah,
Yeah.
hilarious,
Yeah.
great writing.
Yes, it is. And that was one of my favorite episodes too. And Dewey being my favorite, his side plot, which was branching off of the premiere movie of trying to find out more about their mother. And I really did not expect that at all on that premiere for them to get into that story because that's something that I didn't think of until I was an adult and showing the show to my kids that I'm like, well, how are they all related? And
Yeah, I got goosebumps. I knew you probably got goosebumps as well when you heard him when you heard him talk about his mom when he saw the picture on that in that painting. Does what I had to keep rewinding it, and I can't wait to see when she finally does premiere. I can't wait to see her interactions with Donald because I feel like that's going to be a fun sibling rivalry there.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to find out more about this character. Now, we've talked a lot about the show, but did you read any of the classic comics?
I did not. I mean, I enjoy looking at the artwork and the covers of the comics, but I haven't never had them in my possession to read them.
Yeah, I don't. I knew there were Duck comics. I knew that had existed at some point, but I don't know that I had ever really realized that DuckTales was retelling some of those classic stories
Yeah,
until I was older and looking for the DVDs and starting to look into the stories. So I thought that was really neat, and that the people creating this show, those that are working on this show, are so excited not only for the show that we grew up with, but for the source material and want to work with that as well. And I thought that was great. I know there's a lot of people that do like them. And there's a Carl Barks collection that's out there of hardcovers that collect his best stories. So that is on my Christmas list.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah. And now Darkwing Duck comics, I have them all.
Yes,
We're definitely obsessed with those, and every individual and trade paperback of those. So um,
I I have multiple copies of many issues.
good. Keep them alive. Save hashtag Save Darkwing.
Hashtag
Um,
Save Darkwing. Yeah, I bought two of each issue, and I've got two of one of the trades, and and then a single of the other trade. But because I wanted my girls to be able to experience the comic, hold the comic and read the comic, and me not worry about what they did to the comic. So theirs are a little more
Smart.
tattered, and mine are put up.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know we just talk a lot with the writers and the people that are behind the comics. So maybe we can try to get them on the show at some point because it'd be good to hear their perspective on some things if they can get it on here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the DuckTales ones, the new ones, I'm really excited for. But the trade, I'm kind of waiting for the trade paperbacks because I'm kind of an obsessive collector. So if I went to get the individual DuckTales issues, I'd have to have every single cover.
Yes.
And there's like 4 or 5 different covers for each one. I remember I collected the Haunted Mansion comic series that Marvel did, and it was a 5 comic run, and it had like 25 different issues and covers. So it was a pain to collect all those. So I'm going for the trade paperbacks, and luckily the first one comes out in November, and it'll have the first 3 issues. So I'm looking forward to getting that and getting caught up a little bit, and seeing some kind of because I believe it was in the comics like the before what happens before this series started.
Yes, they are. They're each issue's got a couple of standalone stories that have been featuring Donald and the boys. And it's mostly been Donald trying to find work and the boys just doing whatever they're doing during that time. Sometimes that does not work out so well for Donald.
Okay,
So
that's gonna be
so yeah, they've been fun. They've been really great. They're kind of they kind of bridge the gap between the generations because it's been really fun for me to share them with my girls. And the stories are small and just fun for them. So the comic was a little bit of a surprise. It wasn't exactly what I expected. It's not full of the mystery and adventure. It's more of let's get to know these characters a little bit better.
oh no, we all want to do that. So
Yep.
everybody should go get this. Do we want? So that's what this show is going to be about. We're going to be talking about Ducktales on as much basis as we can get these episodes out there. Pretty much because this is what we do all day anyway. So we might as well put out a show if anybody's interested to hear what's in our minds when we talk about Ducktales. Do you want to talk about any things we're going to be doing in the future with this show?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been talking about it and planning for a while. Uh, as I tried to get to the point where I could actually record us and share it with other people. Even the
You did
third.
remember to hit the work button, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I've got red numbers that's counting the time, so we are good.
Great. So we're gonna talk everything ducks
Yes.
and Disney Afternoon and provide as much content to any of our loyal listeners that want to hear us babble about this stuff that we love. We'll be doing talk about Disney Afternoon and the parks and some of the DuckTales characters and Darkwing and all that you can find there. We're going to be talking about the comic books all the time because they're just great and they need us. I don't think they're as advertised as much as they should be. So it'd be great to give the comic story some more love. And we'll definitely be letting all of our listeners know about all the cool new merchandise they can get as well. And we're both gamers too, so we're definitely be talking about the games that are out there that have to do with Disney Afternoon, and they have a great Disney Afternoon collection that's on PS4 and Xbox where you can play all the classic NES games that I grew up with and loved, and they're really a lot of fun. So we'll have an episode that just talks about that. And yeah, we're talkers, so we'll talk a lot about this fandom that we share here, and hope you listeners out there can participate as well and give feedback and ask us your questions that you might have, and we can go into detail with that.
Yeah, we've been working on ways to do that. So, like, first of all, the first thing that we did is we started a Twitter account. So you can find us at DuckTalks. And we've also got a fan blog that's going on that we've been putting content up every day so far about the episodes, kind of going back and talking about some stuff, and they may serve as some show notes as we get into some talks about each episode. So you can check that out. That's at WordPress, but you can find it on Twitter, starting there.
Yes, so definitely check those out. And you can find Mitch and I, our individual accounts on Twitter. I'm at the Pirate Steven, and Mitch, go ahead, do yours.
Yeah, I'm Infinirama616.
And anytime y'all want to talk DuckTales, we're here to listen and talk back. So definitely catch us on Twitter, and tell all your friends. And as we build this DuckTales, DuckTalks community up, we look forward to growing with you guys as we nostalgically go through our episodes of DuckTales with everybody.
Yeah, definitely, and let us know, as we go, and as as this show evolves, let us know what you'd like to see more of. We enjoy talking about it, and you may give us a good idea that we want to spend another 20 minutes talking about.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us for this first episode. We hope you come back for episode 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and so on.
And so on, and so on, and so on. Yes, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to talking about some ducks again. See ya.